This is an invitation to stop placing the one, the infinite, that is all and everything, so also that what you are, to stop placing that outside of yourself. The truth, eternal consciousness, God or reality, or whatever the name is that you want to give to it. Most people have the idea that it is something mystical, which we then tend to look for outside of ourselves. And we do that even when we know that it's not the case, when we know that it is what we are. And we have read about it in books, or maybe know a lot about our true nature by visiting satsangs or doing workshops. We may have even experienced it ourselves. What we often are left with is just a concept that we then turn into something that is separate from who we are. As if it is a hidden mystery or something, like a sort of riddle that we have to solve. And so we look for signals and signs to come to the right code, and that hopefully opens the door to this mystery. And so we fall into being unconscious of the fact that it is what we are and that it is everywhere around us. It is the chair we sit on, the person next to or opposite of us on the bus or at the checkout in the supermarket. It is the whole supermarket. But according to our thinking, it might think like, no, that cannot be. That's not special enough. So, and this is the me mind looking for experiences and evidence that are not of this world. And it must at least be grand or exotic and preferably ecstatic. And that can play on an unconscious level. And that's the reason of this little talk, to check that, as it can go quite unnoticed. Because like I said, there is the concept of knowing that it is what you are, and that it is what the whole shebang of life is, very clearly. However, underneath that knowing, there can be and often is this dynamic of looking for it outside of ourselves. It is the dynamic of the me mind, because from the perspective of being a me, it is experience that we are not already it. And so there is a looking for it. And we then tend to look outside of ourselves. Does that make sense? Let's put it like this. When still identified with the dynamic of the me mind, we still live in its dynamics, experiencing what we are, being here, and everything else, what we are not, being over there. We live divided between an inner and an outer world. And since this mechanism, this me mind, considers everything as an object, it thinks I am here, and so eternal consciousness must be something and somewhere over there. Like I said, even when we know the eternal is what we are, it's the dynamic that does this anyway. So you might want to be aware of that. And if you recognize this, if so, I would like to invite you to come back to yourself. Wonder what it is that looks through these eyes into the world. What is this looking? After all, from the me-mind's viewpoint, everything starts with me, as in, it starts with I want, I don't want, I think, I feel, and so on. It's just what it does. It has the I as the center of its universe. So make use of that. What is it that looks when I look? What is it that hears when I hear? What is it that feels when I feel? Now don't try to find it, instead experience it by being it. It's very direct. It is what we are. It is what does the looking. And also what joins the movement of placing the one, the eternal, outside of ourselves when doing that. Now be the looking that looks. And be the hearing that hears, that listens to this voice. And be the feeling that feels. So be the experience instead of understanding the concept and thinking that it can be found in a future experience. Because when thinking about it, we do not experience it, and by that we automatically place it as an experience in the future. So stop thinking about it, because you cannot think yourself out of it or into it. So stop and look around you. This is it, here and now, wherever and whenever you are. And there's nothing to understand about it. Just like you do not have to understand a meal to eat and stop being hungry. You put the food in your mouth without thinking or understanding the food. So it's a stopping. And not a stopping as a form of doing. It is not a process. It's a complete and acute stop. A stop of granting reality to thinking and the feelings that come along with this thinking, with the stories of the me mind. Thinking yourself separate from what you are, and then go looking for it. So this stop makes it possible to see yourself in and as everything and everyone. Of course, not your personality, but your true essence. The reality of what is always everything and everywhere, expressing itself as flowers, animals, people, cars, trash in the street, the sky, and also your body. That's also part of this what it is, this wholeness, the whole shebang. You are that which is looking through the eyes of the body you experience to be. So the body is part of the infinite, of the way the infinite expresses itself, as one could say, the movie outside of yourself, which includes the body. You see, the habit of mind is to make something out of everything, which is then believed and causes you to overlook reality. And likewise, it tells you that you are a someone confined to a body with a brain. However, what experiences your body and the activity of your brain is the one, is the infinite. It is life itself. It is eternal consciousness experiencing the experiences we refer to as my experiences, as my life. And when this is understood on a deep enough level, then we know that we do not have to do it ourselves, that we cannot even do our life ourselves. There is no you or me to do our lives. Our body and our brain are only an appearance, a phenomenon through which consciousness experiences life, which is itself. So you can constantly judge or comment on that what you call your life, but that does not change what happens. It just makes the experience stressful and unpleasant, just as looking for that what you are outside of yourself becomes unpleasant and maybe frustrating because it's not to be found there as long as that ID is in the way. And as a result, we miss the beauty and spaciousness of the experience while we are living it anyway, with or without criticism. Criticism, which often is a form of resistance, guarantees an experience that involves some sort of suffering. Now, do not make the mistake of thinking, since there is nobody to do this life, it's all the infinite or God anyway, then I do not have to take responsibility, or there's nothing I can do. Or I can be indifferent to, for example, the suffering of others. That's just a way of the spiritual ego hiding itself behind a spiritual concept that is not yet truly lived or embodied. Because when we really live this, which means that it is no longer a concept, then we notice that life very much loves what it is and cares for what it is, and so it reaches out to others. It's not indifferent at all. And also we become more human than ever before, which means that we do take responsibility for what we say and do. There is a human role to live that we then are free from, and by that free to fully dive into as a unique experience. And the beauty is that when we experience life as an experience which is as it is, the experience becomes very alive and loving. Life becomes of a completely different quality. A quality that is beyond the understanding of our mind, which then becomes our toolbox. We finally start using our conditioned mind instead of being used by it. And it's the aliveness and love of life, for life itself, that we are then living, and that we then experience to be. The illusion of separation created by mind, which divided life into an inner and outer world, a me and the world, a here and a there, that has then fallen away, temporarily or for good. So that's the invitation. The invitation to stop placing the one, the eternal, that is forever whole and complete, that what you are, that what we all are, that what life is, the sacred, to stop placing it outside of yourself. Thank you for listening. Be well. Bye-bye.